Hey, this is Brian, and welcome to Podcast on Wheels, powered by Power Loops. Today, we have a guy who's been a friend of mine for a few years, Johnny Richardson. The Richardson Group is a highly professional real estate group. They're in the top 1% in Las Vegas. He has a mentoring program that he's launched to help other real estate agents. He's actively supporting the Operation Underground Railroad. And Johnny just has an entrepreneurial spirit as we're getting started today. You know, Johnny's been enlightening me on some other things. But, Johnny, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing amazing. Happy to be on here with you, my friend. I'm excited about today. Thanks for having me on as a guest. Appreciate that.
Johnny, thank you. And it was a few years ago that we met on social media, and you said, hey, what's your phone number? We got on a call, and we learned that, you know, some of our background from the car business to this and that, and we had some similarities. But, you know, you have taken, you know, I was telling you earlier that every time I see a social media post, your properties are saying sold. They're not listed. So kind of enlighten us why you came to Vegas, what you're doing now, and what all you got going on.
Yeah, thanks for asking. So I came out here to Vegas originally. I was managing a timeshare company with Wyndham Vacation Resort. So they closed up Atlantic City. I never did the Vegas guys trip or anything like that. So they dumped me out here, and I said, you know what? I was like, I'll give this place 6 months. I'm in a sand pit. It's 120 degrees. I'm like, I'm a Jersey boy. I'm used to the water. I'm just like, there's no way. So I can't. I was just telling somebody a story last night. So I was like, I was out here. I was killing timeshare. I was making money, but I'm just like, I didn't know anybody. And so this guy approached me and he says, I've been watching you. And he goes, you're awesome. Can you come meet me tonight? I want to show you what I do. And I'm like, I don't need a job, bro. I'm like, I'm good at what I do. He goes, no, I think you need to see this. So what he did is he managed for nightlife. And he goes, what I do is I comp out tables and do this. And I'm like, sounds interesting. He goes, dude, you'll make a lot of money and have a lot of fun if you want to do it. So I ended up jumping in there and I did timeshare during the early part of the day, switched out my suit, jumped in that at nighttime. And overnight, I opened up a marketing company, hired a bunch of cocktail waitresses, cigarette girls, and I was cruising and I started making all these relationships. That's when I figured out that Vegas is who you know. I mean, I started making contacts, having friends, going out, having a good time, making a ton of cash. And before you knew it, this was home to me and I was not turning around. That was 2012. And I'll tell you what, now fast forward today in real estate, that list that I was making, that SOI list, you know, this fear of influence, my friends and everything else, that list still feeds me and it taught me a lesson. It didn't matter if you're doing timeshare, it didn't matter if you're doing bottle service, it didn't matter if you're doing real estate. If you're building relationships, you were going to do something in whatever path you're taking. And at the same time, have a lot of fun because Vegas is a fun city at the end of the day. So I do love this city now, and it definitely has grown on me. Bringing up as far as solds and everything else, we're just talking before the call started. Probably one of my biggest hurdles right now is we keep outgrowing the operation. And so my marketing department has trouble keeping up with the content that's going out. I'm like, just get it out there. It's sometimes contract or listed and just going sold, sold, sold. They say the same thing as you, Brian. They're like, where are these coming from? I don't even see these things get listed half the time. I'm like, we're cruising, man. And it's funny. If you talk to guys in real estate, you'll hear two stories right now. You're going to hear the guy that's like, oh, man, I might not be in business in 3 months. I might be hanging up that license and working at the casino or doing whatever. And then you talk to other people, they're like, I'm crushing it. It's amazing. And market is whatever you make of it. Perception's everything at the end of the day. If you go into whatever and you say, this stinks, this is hard, it will stink, it will be hard. If you go in and you say, I'm going to crush it, I'm going to destroy it, you're going to crush and destroy it. Just is what it is. It definitely is. So it's been a good ride. Looking back 2012, this has been fast, bringing up to 220. So it's pretty crazy. It's interesting. It definitely is. But good old Jersey boy here in Vegas now. Shark in the sand. That's all I can say.
I hear you. And as I've watched you over the last few years, every time we've been on a call, whether it was something with closer school back in the day or this or that, or it was the energy that you bring every day, Johnny, I think that's one thing that, I see you're in the gym, you're at this place, you're at that place, and you're always smiling. You're always, how do you keep that type of motivation? What do you do for you?
For me, myself, I tell you what, I'm a human being at the end of the day. I mean, let's call it for what it is. We're going to have our rough ones. I don't think you're ever going to avoid it. What you're going to do is you're going to develop a thicker skin on how you're going to handle it at the end of the day. Because you really have a couple options. I mean, one is you could go get skunk drunk down at the bar and cry in your chair. That's one option. You could do that, and that's going to set up a really bad morning. Number two is, hell, this is life. Life's giving me a challenge right now. Let's go in and face it and go after it. There's a book that I read years ago. It was based off of a character, Ari Gold, off Entourage. And I'll never forget what he had said on there in that book. He said, you want to be an octopus in an orgy and make sure everybody wants you. And where you see me all over the place, that is what I do. I'm involved in everything in this city and reach my hands into it. I'll just never forget that one saying in the book, because I live and die by that there, because I'm in the gym in the morning. I don't know, 4 or 5 gym memberships. During COVID, I had 11 or 12. And I'm just constantly, because I like to be in the mix of everything constantly and in an event space. Now, let's call it for what it is. I'm busier. I'm running 3 companies, and my time has gotten thinner. So when I do these, I am appropriate all my time. I can't spend 4 or 5 hours at one place. I got 1 hour here. I got 1 hour there at the end of the day. And I sincerely believe, I mean, people are going through different things in their business right now, but no matter what business you're in and whatever the challenge is, if you're continuing moving, if you're continuing building relationships and in front of people, it's going to keep going. You're going to continue making money. You're going to continue building. You'll be continuing making income. The people that are shutting down, that like, this is hard. I need a night home. I'm frustrated. I'm going to go home. I'm going to watch Modern Family tonight and just suck it up into the tube. It's not certain yet. Come on now. I mean, that rerun is not cash in your pocket or help build your family or build your business or bring happiness by the end of the show. And you might chuckle a couple times, but that's about it. I mean,
Right.
So I'm just really looking for stuff. I love being around people. I bought a big house here in Vegas recently and bought it specifically. I mean, it's me in a big spot, but to entertain, to bring people over, bring people together. Because I sincerely believe, as much as I like being around and meeting people and everything else, at the same time, one of the biggest blessings you can do for people is being a matchmaker and bringing other people together and helping their business and helping them succeed. An old friend of mine had said, make your client some money. That's one thing. Help them build their business. That's a whole nother level. You help somebody build their business, create a relationship for them that they would have never gotten. They're never going to forget that. You're going to be connected with that person forever.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that was, it's funny you talk about the guy that goes home and watches the reruns and stuff. And I, I feel like there's been times in my life in former baseball and different things and coaching. And it's like, I just wanted to get away from people. But the more I get around the guys like you and the people who, like we were talking about Coach Bird earlier and different things, it's like when I get around these people, what would I do if Johnny called me tomorrow and said, what'd you do last night? What were you doing to move the needle? What were you doing? Well, Johnny, I was watching, Modern Family and I laughed twice. So yeah, it kind of, it holds me accountable to open up. When I go to Instagram or social media and things, I'm like, okay, well, what's the shark doing today? And where is he? And what business is he running? So tell us a little bit about your business. You're running 3 businesses right now. So tell us about those. Step into the future with Power Loops, the king of off-grid power, where our proprietary system is changing the game of energy. This isn't just power, it's freedom. The freedom to live, work, and play anywhere, powered by our innovative technology that taps into the Earth's natural energy. Our system is designed for efficiency, durability, and sustainability, ensuring that you have reliable power 365 days a year without harming the planet. Whether you're traveling in the RV, the remote wilderness, or just opting out of traditional power grids, Power Loops provides the ultimate solution. Join us in leading the charge towards a cleaner, greener, and more empowered world. Power Loops, the king of off-grid energy.
Yeah, so what we did is we started out with the real estate company naturally. So the place that you're looking at right now where I'm at, this was our newest office. Opened this up, call it 18, 19 months ago. Started out with 2,000 square foot. During that time, I had a vision to grow, and I'm like, what direction am I going to go here? And I had decided to, one, join into the Real Broker LLC platform, number one, so I could expand across the U.S. Now we have operations along many different states. And I said, okay, what am I going to do here at my hub? What do I need that's in real estate that's going to be important? One, what are you going to do to feed mortgages for people? You know what I mean? As people are coming in, do you want to send those mortgages out or do you want to keep them in-house? So we opened up a JV mortgage company that's Simplified Mortgage LV. So we opened up that, and I say we because that business I own with a few different partners. My real estate company is just me. So then number two was going to be we needed closings with a title company. So not every state is a title state. Here in Nevada, we are. So we partnered with Magnus, and then my JV model, my LLC is Clark County Title. So I have them right under this roof. During that time, I was chasing after a couple large teams in Vegas. So I grabbed these large teams. One was about 30, another one was about 15. And expanded this building another 2,500 square feet. Now we have over 100 agents under this roof. And the whole idea was we were going to go ahead and run through as far as with the agents, create value, bring them in, train, educate, help them use our services, keep everything in one stop. You saw Zillow do it in the beginning of COVID. They called it point to point. They did the mortgages. They would do the closings. They buy properties, you name it. They were no longer just come look at our properties. So when I saw that, I said, okay, now Zillow's huge. They've been around for a minute. I mean, who's to say we can't? You got to start someplace. I said, so the Richardson Group efforts. So we did the same exact thing. Now we run the masterminds. So 10 o'clock today. So we have a mastermind for our title company. We're bringing in a tax expert. So we're bringing that tax expert from California. She's coming in speaking, delivering value, sponsored by our title company, doing this for other agents. And it's pretty awesome now. I was just talking about this the other day. I mean, I'm pushing like I've never pushed before, but it's awesome to see the operation push as well. Now you're seeing production, you're seeing agents come in. It's like, where these guys come from? Well, such and such invited me and such. I'm like, holy crap. It's really neat once you start seeing the momentum is taking over. I'm not the guy that's going to take off and go to a beach and retire and sit back and watch it grow. I'm always going to grind in some fashion. Do I enjoy a bit of my free time now? 100%. I do. I'm in Vegas. I get a Saturday off. I'm taking off to the pool, enjoying. I'm good looking. It is what it is. So I'll be out there having a good time. So at the end of the day, I mean, it is super awesome, definitely. And normally when I do that stuff on the weekends, it's incorporated but with other relationships. I got somebody coming in from California. I want to wine and dine them, take their team out, show them a good time. And it's pretty phenomenal. It is just the way the business is growing now. So it's super awesome.
Yeah, and there's one thing I heard you say in there. I gave you a thumbs up. You're a good looking dude, and that's I say I've never seen a mirror I didn't like, and but that comes into play with the confidence in the business, right? I mean, that comes into play with waking up and having it, and I've seen ugly people say it too, but at the same time, it's still that confidence. But I see your agents, I see teams, I've seen where there's rewards and bonuses, and people have the energy, but you've also I see the training, and I see it looks like from the outside looking in, it looks like sometimes you can put them in situations they're going to be in the real world, right under your roof right there, and teach them, train them, and walk them through objections, obstacles, hiccups, so your team, they love you. So tell us, like, what are some things you do to train the team, or people that may be looking, hey, I want to go work for this guy? Well, what would that look like?
So on the local side of things here in Vegas, and I open these doors up to other brokerages as well to come in and be involved. I'm not like, you're not a part wheeler, you're not a shark, don't come in. So if you're listening to this and you are local, want to jump in, just reach out to me. So on Mondays, I run scripting. It's a huge lack in real estate companies where I came from, where we talked about the car business, timeshare. There's adamant training over and over and over. There's not as much of it in real estate. They kind of throw you at the wall, and if you stick, you stick. So I brought a lot of that to real estate. So one is scripting is every Monday. We're running through scripting. We're doing it. You got to be good at your language. You have 22,000 agents in Vegas. How are you going to get to the top 1%? Well, you're not going to get it by what you learned at the casino taking orders for a cranberry and vodka. That's not a salesperson, just not. So you're an order taker. So we're training as far as what are we doing on objective handling? How are you going to lean a prospect, a person that's looking to buy a house where they're going to look at one or two houses instead of 50, and you're going to get to the transaction? Because my main core of what I train in the objection handling is how to show less houses and do more transactions at the end of the day. Because what most agents suffer from is they're going to show houses till somebody's blue in the face. Either you're going to pass out and die, or the client is, because they're going to be sick of you because you have no direction. You don't know how to handle them. It's the truth. It is. I mean, you talk to people that buy houses, I always ask, and I'm just like, whoever it is, they're like, oh, we bought a house last year. I'm like, how was it? They're like, well, we looked at 100 houses. I'm like, oh my goodness, that is horrible. I'm just like that. Nobody wants to do that. I'm in real estate, and if I'm going to look at a house, forget about it. I walk in, one, probably two max, and I'm sticking my head in the door. I'm like, it looks good. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm like, I do not want to waste that time. So Wednesdays, what we do is we do one-on-ones with our agents where I'm doing a deep dive into their business, and we're ripping it apart. What does your hot list look like? Who's coming up into escrow? Who's in escrow? Who needs help? Where do I need to jump in to make sure this deal stays together? And we're going in deep, and we're going intimate. Thursdays here, that's for the team. So we're going over our entire lead system, what's incoming, what do we need to do, what gaps are in there as far as a general across the team. Because Wednesdays split up into two separate groups. That's a beginner team, and also where I call the minnows, and then a secondary team we call the great whites that are really cruising. So I got to train them at two different levels. Fridays, I partnered up with some of my other leaders because I believe you're not a prophet in your own land. People do need a different voice sometimes, and they will grab onto that. I don't care who you are out there. I talk to partners of mine across the United States are like, I need to bring in other people. It is what it is. It's kind of like that kid that won't listen to what his mom says or dad, but you put them with the babysitter and it says the same thing. They're like, yes, definitely. You know what I mean? It's just the way human beings operate. So we'll bring in other people and we do deep dives like NAR's going on with compensations right now. Listing, how do you prepare a listing? How do you gain more listings? Every realtor out there wants more listings. how do you really dissect that listing presentation and be a professional? It's more upper level. We call it elite real estate training on Fridays. So we'll do that across the board. Then there's, as far as like I mentioned, our title stuff today, we have that open up to everybody. Now I have teams over in other states like California, Texas, New Jersey. So those ones there, then we have available, we have via Zooms where we're doing what's called on Mondays, that is called Rocket Fuel, where me and some of my other partners, some of us on there, like I'll do around 300 plus transactions this year.
Here at Smith Financial Services, we take care of small business owners, 1099 contract workers, and their families. We know insurance can be rough if you're a small business owner, so we are here to make things easy. Visit our website, smithfinancial.services, to learn more.
Some other partners I have on there are doing 1,000. I mean, I have guys that are just number 2 out of 60,000 agents in Arizona right now that are crushing the listing game. So we'll bring in our partners in other states, we'll put them on there, and they have that available because I believe proximity is everything. If I'm going to join somebody, work with somebody, do something with somebody, what does the proximity look like? Does it stop right here, or are we getting a further reach? So I want to make sure if somebody's going to partner with me, it doesn't stop at me. I'm bringing in other people to help and assist them with their business. Some people that are just 20 plus years just absolutely crushing at the end of the day. I mean, so we have something for everybody at every level, whether it's local, whether it's in another state, you name it, across the board. I mean, I tell people all the time, I said, there's two things if you're going to work with me. Number one, you're going to need to show up. I mean, if you're not showing up when I tell you to show up, I just can't do anything about that. Number two, you got to have some work ethic. You got to come in, put some elbow grease into it. If you can do those two things, you will have success. The minute you take your foot off the gas on either one of those, forget about it. I mean, people come in and say, you know, do you think it's going to work? I don't know. You tell me. Can you show up? Do you have the work ethic? You know, that's the question. That is the question. It really is. So it's interesting as far as what people go. People do, I should say, because at the end, I had a guy come in recently, bring up a few things. I said, well, how often are you showing up? You know, are you really asking everybody a referral? Are you putting that work ethic? No. I'm like, I don't know where this conversation's going because you didn't do the two things I told you to do. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. So to give you a little bit of insight, we have more than enough training at the end of the day, plus recorded and live and everything else. It's ridiculous. It is. So you're definitely not short by any means of my company. I can tell you that.
You're telling me something. I was talking to a guy last week about an opportunity, and I was questioning things and trying to look at it. And I said, well, have I immersed myself in that? Am I showing up like I should have? And we had a conversation. It was a 12-minute conversation. I was leaving the gym. He's at and 12 minutes. And my day today is completely different than it was last week just because of what you're saying, and I check myself all the time, and it's like, did I show up? Did I immerse myself in what he said I had to do in order to get there? Sort of, when I liked it, but then it's like, okay, well, and now I sent him an opportunity today to connect with somebody else that he's going to benefit, from. So I get it, so. But Johnny, I see, obviously I'm a fan of tattoos. And so you have a few. Are you getting any new work? Did I see something shiny there? Are we getting anything done?
Yeah, I'm actually, this one, we're bringing it down. I mean, for years, I've gone back and forth. Should I finish out a sleeve? Should I not finish out a sleeve? Is this going to be? And I'm like, you know what? I'm going for it. So the girl is working on it right now. I mean, so you'll see 212 right here. 212's been a part of my branding forever. 212 is the degrees of water when water comes to boil. Hot water will cook an egg. And then it'll develop steam. Steam's strong enough to move a locomotive. And it's really about living an elevated life at all times max. Most people live at a 209, a 210, and then they bring it down, they bring it down, they bring it down just when they're ready to peak. That's a reminder, be always at that 212 level in relationships, in business. If you're going to do anything, go all in. That's just what I live and breathe by. Now, they're finished. The koi was done there, but they're redoing it because we're bringing this here around. The koi is good luck in Japanese culture. So the definition of luck. You have a koi? Oh, look at you. Nice. Nice. I'm digging that. That's super cool. I dig it. Yeah, I've been a big fan of it. I mean, this I've had, but they're redoing it. And it's when, as far as luck, when preparation meets opportunity. So it's a reminder to always be prepared. So I love the koi. Naturally, the clovers here. I'm a half Irish. You know, you make your own luck at the end of the day. And then we're bringing in a hummingbird here. The flowers, I'll tell you a funny story. So my mom used to punish me by making me do yard work. And I actually end up having a love for flowers because of it. So I'm probably one of the few out there I could go with the women to a store and be like, oh, that's, finger flowers and such. Are like, what is wrong with you? How do you know this stuff? Well, punish someone. That's what. So that was there for my mom and a hummingbird. We both have this love for hummingbirds with a scroll that says you reap what you sow, because that's what she always raised me on. And that's been like super huge in my life, because anything that's ever happened, whether that's good or bad, you have put that together. You have done that by design. You know what I mean? Problems didn't start in the end, they started in the beginning. What did you do to formulate that and everything else? So we're working on that right now. That scroll will come down. Back here, we're actually going to bring in a lighthouse. And as far as a lighthouse, it's a big piece for me, and it's a symbol to always be a shining light for people, to be out there, be a support system to help and assist. So I've thought for years what to put together. So everything is very intentional that's going on my arm. So I'm in the middle of it. I'm probably going to be last 2 or 3 weeks been back and forth working on it. I just get impatient after 3-4 hours in the chair. It doesn't hurt like last week. She's like, you fell asleep while getting a tattoo while people are screaming. I'm just like, it's my one chance to get a nap. So, but I just get bored sitting in the chair. I'm just like 4 hours. I'm like, Debbie, get me out of here. I'm like, that's enough. I'm just like, I got stuff to do, girl. Are you getting more work done on you? Are you working on more stuff?
We are. I finished this one. Got my kids' names.
Nice.
And got some stuff there, and got some chest piece, did a back piece. But the guy that works on me, he is so booked, that it's like, hey, if we're going to get together, he needs a few months advance. And similar to your schedule, it's like, okay, well, I don't know where I'm going to be on July at this time at 8:00 on a Friday night. Probably not watching Modern Family, but but hopefully I'll be flying out to Vegas and hang out with Johnny and learn some more stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Well,
so
come on, let's do it, my friend. Let's do it.
I hear you. Well, I know your time's extremely valuable. I wanted to get some nuggets today, but as we kind of wrap up here to conclude, do you have a quote? You gave us a book, you gave us some people, but is there something that if somebody maybe struggling in life, maybe struggling with something, I always see you as an encourager and you're lifting people up. So is there something you would like to share as we wrap up today?
So I will say this, as far as, I have a million different quotes. And one of the books is right here on me, 212. I read that when I was 17 years old, and it inspired me to always live my life at an elevated level. Now, have I been perfect? Heck no. Who's perfect? What's your version of perfection? It's really an illusion at the end of the day. It's whatever you create. But I'll tell you what I've been good at, as far as when you do fall, and I have fallen, you get right back up. Don't sit there and lick your wounds and cry about it and everything else. So that's number one right there. I'd say if you're looking as far as being getting yourself in the right mindset and everything else. It's not if it's gonna happen, it's when it's gonna happen. You will be knocked down, but you developing the strength to be able to handle it at the end of the day. That is what you can control. So stop trying to control preventing it from happening. That's a waste of energy at the end of the day. But you being able to handle those things when they come up. Same thing in relationships. I hear it all the time. Well, what if this person burns me? What if this person hurts me? You have no control of that. Maybe they do, but you do have control how you're going to react with it. You do, 100%. People do it where they have bad relationships and they walk around mopey. They have a bad transaction in business. Client did X. And now you moped about it for 3 weeks. You lost opportunity. There's referrals probably dancing around you. And you're crying so much about the one that was lost that you didn't even see it coming. I mean, just like, learn to handle it. You know what I mean? That's life at the end of the day. I mean, that's huge. I mean, as far as, and once again, have I been perfect? Heck no. You know what I mean? This is something I've developed throughout the years and everything else and gotten better and better at the end of the day. So number one, I'd say always live your life at an elevated level. Number two, learn to handle the crap because it's coming. And the more you can deal with it, the more you can take it in, the more successful your version of success you're going to hit.
I love it. I love it. Johnny, well, I greatly appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to continuing this relationship and seeing where we can connect and network and how things can benefit everybody. And may God bless you. And thanks again for your time, Johnny.